down to the top 3 of the preseason coaches poll. Number 3 with one first place vote, Ferrum. They're coached by David Harper, who's entering his 4th season at Ferrum. Last year, Panthers went 7-3 overall, 5-2 in conference play, one of the tri-champions of the regular season. Right now, Ferrum expecting 7 starters back on offense from last year, 3 on defense. Join me in welcoming Ferrum head football coach David Harper.
We'd like the rest of the coaches. Obviously, thanks to Abrick for hosting this. Rita and Mike, what you guys do, not just today, but through the course of the year. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes, that's for sure. And then my administration, just outstanding. Dr. Broughton, we've got a new VP that we work under now, is Kim Blair. And then Coach Nath, I call him Coach, that's what he's been for years at Ferrum. And those guys are great people, without a doubt. And 2 people here from Ferrum. Sports information, Gary Holden, who wears more hats than I think anyone that I've ever seen, and he does a great job. And then Steve Marsh, who's with our Franklin News Post. Thank you guys for coming. You know, this is my 3rd year, by the way. Don't put me older than I really am, all right? I mean, I'm scared to death already listening to these coaches talk and who they are. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable what they're saying and who they are and what they preach to their players. And that's what Division III is all about. You know, we've got to win, we understand that, but I think it's so much more than just wins and losses. You know, it's how your team acts on the sidelines, how they travel, you know, how they eat in a dining hall with the other students, how they interact with the other students. And I think that's what all these coaches are talking about, and that's why the conference is so good. I'm looking forward to going down to Huntington. Not really, by any means. By any means, down there in the heat on the turf. That'll be our first conference game. And but we're looking for that trip, no question. You know, this conference is interesting now because we've added LaGrange and Huntington to the mix. And I kind of like that. You know, most of the conferences, if you look around Division III, they're all tight in one area. You know, the ODAC is just in Virginia and the old Ohio Valley, and they're all tight. We get to travel, and our players get to see so many different places, and I think that's part of it. You know, I'm one of those coaches. If we get an opportunity to travel, you know, we've seen you one time. We go down there, and I'm trying to get tickets and everything to go to Williamsburg. I ain't worried about the game yet. You know, let's let our players see some things. So I'm extremely excited about our conference. Our team, well, let me step back. Our coaching staff, like everyone says, no question. I mean, I got a great, unbelievable staff, and they're all my friends, you know, and that's the truth, you know, and most of my staff is older than me, so that's always makes it interesting. But they go beyond the call of duty all the time, and I don't have to worry about it. I do not blink. I'm out of the office, I'm doing something. I know they have my back, and I just can't appreciate those guys enough. And that goes to our trainers and everything, because any program, as once again these coaches talk about, you got to surround yourself with good people, you know, and if you do that, usually good things will happen to you, and that goes along with the football team, you know. You got to get a good young man with high character, and that's what we try to create here in my first 3 recruiting classes, and we're getting close. You know, I evaluate my players basically on one thing. Can I bring them into my house when my kids were young and take care of my kids? If I can do that, then they're the right guy in our program. And right now we're awful close of getting returners that are in that situation. You know, offensively, we'll talk about the team. Offensively, you know, we lose 3 really good football players. Tyler Brubeck, who's our little slot receiver, running back, and do a little bit of everything. He was a talented guy, but 2 guys that I think, you know, went unnoticed through the season was our 2 receivers last year. You know, we don't catch a lot of balls. I think one had 33, the other one 25 or something. But their catches were unbelievable. I mean, you know, if they were in a different type of thing, throwing it 60, 70 times a game, they would be extremely talented. That was Mekhi Jackson and Derek West. So, you know, those three spots we'll have to replace. Offensive line-wise, we return a group that got to be blue collar. You know, they ain't gonna be fancy and all that stuff. They better execute and play extremely tough to survive in there. And then obviously we have our quarterback back, who's got a little bit of athletic ability and does some things well, but he's a tremendous leader. Defensively, I think they said 3 returners. You know, our front is going to be, I like our front. They'll play much better this year. I'm not coaching them, you know, so they returned quite a few there, a couple all-conference players. They should be our strength. Linebacking core, if the right ones show up, we'll be okay there. You know, our secondary will be young. You know, I like them. They're talented. They play the ball well. But, you know, they got no experience, so we'll wait and see. And then special teams-wise, we got Wesley Franklin, who's all-conference, and he may handle all 3. We had a really good spring with our kicking game. Coach Shaw does a great job with our kickers. So hopefully he won't have to, but if he does all 3, then he'll do all 3. Best man wins. But that's kind of us and who we are and what we're trying to do. Questions?
Coach, you're bringing Tim Reynolds back from quarterback conference offensive player of the year from last year. Yeah, there's no other position in any sport like quarterback is to a football team. When you have somebody with that experience and that acumen, and plus some people, good people coming around, you got to be excited about the offense's prospects as well.
Well, I mean, it all starts with the quarterback. I know that much. You know, and you know, we've been fortunate to have some good quarterbacks there. You know, hopefully we can support him. Hopefully we get a couple guys that were on our roster a year ago. Hopefully they'll return. You know, we'll wait and see till we report. I know that much at this level, that's for sure. And then we had a great spring of developing some guys that I think got some tools. So hopefully we need to take the pressure off the Tim. And that was our goal in the spring. And then, you know, once again, I left the guy. We got a new offensive coordinator, so I'm learning a little bit of the new system and new terminology and what he brings to the table. I mean, he's been a little bit everywhere. You know, came from Kent State and ran as the offensive coordinator there. And he brings a lot of knowledge. You know, and he's a great fundamental guy. You know, when I look for coaches, first of all, do you coach fundamentals? You know, and how do you interact with your players? You know, you've got to interact with your players. You can't be distant. And then, you know, you're off the field. I don't want to hire too much of a young guy. I was young and doing things you probably shouldn't do when you're young and trying and all those things, you know. So I got an older guy that I don't have to worry about. He's extremely professional in his approach to everything he does. You know, the thing that I have a concern is we haven't worked